Yo, you are tuned in to another episode of the 3% Show, where I truly believe that people will tell you 97% of their truth, but the 3% untold holds power in their life, no matter good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. It can either destroy you, grind with you, or more. Today, I am honored and privileged to have somebody that I consider family. Didn't know the 6 degrees of separation, how close family is. I'm so proud of this young lady. She is a grinder. She is an inspiration to others and a poet, and she knows it. Please welcome Miss Crystal to the stage. How you doing?
Hello, thank you. Good, thank you.
All right. I apologize if my voice sounds a little deeper than normal. This is my normal voice, but I'm a little under the weather now and more, so hopefully show you right.
So now you just got your just waking up voice.
Hey, you know. Good morning. How you doing?
Okay, you know what? No. Let me pull out my sexy berry voice for you.
How about show you right? So hey, I am honored because you are a Dotte affiliate. You've been around for a while. I've known your circle. I've known you and seen you around for a long time. And then we happen to connect the dots with family.
Yes, Nikki, Daddy.
Yes. And then it went from there. The reason why I have you on the show again is to celebrate you. We've had a few conversations dealing with your art form. I had no idea what you were building, what your sister is doing. So can you give us just a little bit of background with you? Because as I said, I don't want people to think this is just the pro Blaq show, but I deal with anybody.
Nothing wrong with that.
Right, I deal with anybody that I feel deserves some light. So tell us about yourself, Miss Crystal.
Oh goodness. I don't know. I'm just me. I'm just here. For years, I'm from KCK. So we all know Wash House. 913 officially Dotte. So we always rep no matter where we're at. And I just worked. I've worked. And I was working for KU. 12 year. I was 12th year into it. And of course, good benefits, good pay, very monotonous. Just same thing. You wake up and you're taking calls and a call, and you're dealing with patients. And see, I'm frontline everywhere. Everything I do, for whatever reason, I end up being frontline, which is fine, but we get the attitudes, we get the nasties, but we also get the good and the praises when the doctors do something good, or nurses, or whatever, if they're mad, whatever. But it still just was the monotony of it all.
Right.
So I did that for 12 years. During that time, because I was a single mother, still kind of am, except my kids are pretty grown now, but single mother with 3 children, I had to work, and I got to make it work. So I started working. Right, exactly. And I was told, no lie, I applied for assistance for a long time because I was a young mother. I was really proud. And when I say really proud, I mean, like, I didn't want to get on assistance. I didn't want to do housing. I thought food stamps, it just, there's a stigma around it. And when I got pregnant with my oldest daughter, who's now 24, I was told, well, you can't make it. You're not going to go anywhere. You have a kid. You've just messed up your life. Yeah, everything negative. So, there's where that proud came in. I'm too proud to get on assistance. I'm not going to do this. So when I finally decided, okay, you know what? I need this. I gotta have this, right? I was 14 cents gross pay over income guidelines.
Man, that shit is crazy.
14 cents. When I tell you that I cried so hard, and everybody who knows me knows I'm a crybaby, but I cried so hard at that time because I'm like, yo, this is how the system gets you. It's not a lie. Another conversation for another day, but this is how it gets you. So fast forward, I started working at the Grand Saloon as well on the plaza.
Man.
So I've been there.
I'm sorry. If you don't know, check it out. So back home in KC, we have these civilized areas. We have the homegrown joints like Nieces and more, and then you got the F. And for those who know me, know how I move. I used to go to the Grand Saloon in the plaza area when I found out their happy hour drinks was $3.72. And in the clubs where I was supposed to be going, they had a special on Hennessy for $9. Oh, I would get lit in the plaza and then go out to where I'm supposed to go.
And then go to, right.
Shout out to the Grand Falloon because they good times before I moved here 10 years ago. Go ahead.
Man, it is it's two different. So I be office and hello, how you doing, what can I help you with, to physical, like I'm moving around, I'm working, I'm having to kick people in shins because they won't get out the way, like this is pre-COVID, it's back to back, having to make your way through,
right,
and it's all exhausting. But regardless, I was working. It was one point where I was working, there's 40 hours, 80 hours, 168 hours in 2 weeks. I was working 40 hours a week at both jobs.
Yeah.
So I had money, but what I didn't have was time and freedom with my kids.
Say that one more time. Because I think sometimes people get with the grind of money. Some people truly love it. And some people feel they do it for their children, but they're missing out on the time, being there in the present. You know what I'm saying?
So true facts. And it was such a transition. I mean, I feel like you go through transition so often in life, but this was such a transitional period because my daughter was going off to college. My youngest was still in elementary school. So I had my middle school son who was up to no good watching my elementary school child. Lord Jesus, you know how many times I got called at work. If I didn't answer the cell phone, then I got called at work, and then I got called again, and then I was like, Lord Jesus. But it makes such an impact not being there, because again, I was what they had. I mean, I do have a very good support system, I will say, but there's times, they're exhausted. They got their own stuff going on. They can't run, and take care of my responsibilities. So fast forward again, here we are this year, beginning of this year. I was talking to Joe Macklin, aka Joe Blaq.
Wait. We're gonna fast forward to that. Give me 1 second here. So what middle school and high school did you go to? And how was that growing up? What set the foundation of this pride that you have? And not necessarily pride, but the sense of urgency. Tell us about that background if the young leading up to this with your siblings and more.
So elementary school, Hazel Grove, middle school, Eisenhower.
Eisenhower. Okay, I'm rocking with you. Go ahead.
Eisenhower, and then Washington.
Okay. So what inspired, did anything happen in your high school years to kind of set a foundation? Did you know people? Did you watch things? Because I went to the Wash House myself, and no lie, that set a precedence in my life for today. To see the good, bad, ugly. And when I say ugly, doesn't necessarily mean a mess. It's just at a young age, you can see the trajectory of where you can go in life and the people that you surround yourself with and more.
It's crazy because it was such a different dynamic. Like you would have like your poor, you can tell, like, don't get me wrong, I still get shoes from Walmart, but you could tell the kids that had Walmart shoes that they've had for the last 2 years. Dusted, beat up, dirty clothes, to like, these guys have their own cars. They got
right.
Like the wheels, the rims, the beat, the this and that. So it was such a huge dynamic and difference in social, the social economics of the entire school. It's so different. I was kind of in the middle, average. I kind of did not make myself known. I was like that tomboy, which I'm never like that now. Baggy clothes, hats, that was my thing. Tennis shoes, I'm cool with it. My mom would have to pry me into a dress.
Right.
That's just how it was. But with all my friends, I always hung around. It's just how it was. I was a choir student, and most people that were in choir were in some type of athletics, whether it be basketball, football, track. I was also in track too.
Okay.
So I was also around sports a lot. My dad wanted me to try to be in every single sport, and I didn't even want to be in track. Can you imagine me trying to run? What?
Absolutely.
But I did it.
And have to stay until the track meet is over. Like my
Do
event is
you
done.
do you hear me? We would
Come
be
on.
there 7 a.m. and we wouldn't get done till 9 p.m. sometimes.
Shout out to Mr. Kearney. I don't know if he was your coach back then, but when he said, "Come here, Hucklebuck," you came. Okay.
Okay. Then we had Mr. Lindsay. For me, that was my inspiration often.
And
I
you did
remember
so much. I remember when he first came. Swear to God, he had like sparkles around him.
swear to God, it
Like
was
swear
like,
to God, it's like when Charlie Murphy talked about seeing Prince, Mr. Lindsay strode in that joint.
man, let me tell you,
Shoes, pants,
smooth.
colors.
Okay, you hear me? You hear me? And he was different. Yeah, he was different than the other music teachers. You know, the other kids were very uniformed and stand still, don't move. Um, he was like, y'all move, y'all rock, y'all. If you don't feel the music, how can you sing it like you feel the music? And then will the audience really believe that you enjoy yourself?
Absolutely.
You know, that was one thing. So as I mentioned before, I was a young mother. I had my daughter when I was in 10th grade.
I did not do that.
Yeah. I had my daughter when I was in 10th grade, and it was not an option for me to stop going to school. My dad was like, I don't care what happens, you're finishing school and we're not sending you to no alternative school, so you better figure it out.
Shout out to Pops right now. Shout out to let me drop a yeah. Go ahead with it.
It wasn't an option. But it was hard. I remember times, you know, in both home and school, home, just one home situation. I was so tired. I was also working too. So I was going to school full time working. And then, you know, as a parent, I was so tired. I finally fell asleep. And my dad came and tapped on me. And he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Alicia's asleep. I'm about to lay down." He said, "No, get up. You chose this life. You have chores and you do your homework." Man, I was so ticked off. I swear I was, you know, cursing in my head because, you know, we weren't disrespectful like that when we was younger because, you know, you might get knocked into next year. But
absolutely.
But yeah, I was so mad. And then there was another time I was at school. I was in choir and I was second alto, like, you know, Leslie Elamine was first chair, right? And then I was second. So of course I'm in front row. Mr. Lindsay sees me. I'm falling asleep. You know what he made me do? He literally made me stand up by myself the entire class. And we still had like 45 minutes left.
You had to be on 21 Front Street. That's all it is.
I said, man, I'm like, y'all. And again, what did he tell me? You made that choice. You had that baby. You're here in school. You give me my time when you're here with me. Those are things that build you, you know, regardless. Right. You keep going, you keep moving. Having a baby at a young age, you kind of make an option. You make a choice. You have the options. You're either going to do it, you're going to work hard, you're going to figure it out, or you're going to give up.
Absolutely.
What I'm not going to do, which my daddy and my mother, but my daddy was he was really like front line, like, I'm there for you. There, and he was really disappointed whenever I got pregnant. He literally did not talk to me for a whole year. Same house. He would say, "Hello, good morning, do your chores." A whole year. That was devastating. But the one thing that he made sure was that we were good and that I did not give up. Absolutely. I'm here. I'm back here. But you know, it's the nudge. It's not no talking.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing when you talk about parenting, because I think that was around the end of the age where the grandmother or the elders used to take care of kids, and sometimes parents would put people in control of their lives and guide them. And shout out to people like Mr. Lindsay and Mr. Mitchell and Ruth Goheen and Butch Ellison and them, because my times in Washington High School more, I had those days where I wanted to quit. And it doesn't matter where you come from, or sometimes people look at District 500 and be like test scores and more. Sometimes these teachers are literally Mr. Morris saved my life in French. I don't know how fast, but he jumped on the table with them high pants. It was like, look, calm down.
You know who else helped me a lot? Miss Moore. You remember her? She was a counselor.
Oh, Moore?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Will's mother.
Oh, that is, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. She still has my heart. She still has my heart. I just seen her not too long ago, and she still asks, "How are you? How are the kids?"
Absolutely.
You know, the difference, I think our teachers, they really like invested in us. You know, they invested their time and their energy, and they cared about us almost as much as our parents, you know, cared about
Absolutely.
us.
Absolutely. If you tried,
I
they
don't,
cared. Or even if you didn't try,
yeah,
they heart, they took you home with them and put you in their pocket. So you were
no,
never too
facts.
far away from them.
Right. You know, that's when, but also at the same time, that's when they could call your parents at any time, or your parents could just walk in the classroom. You didn't even know they're there. That happened to me once. I was in Miss Swan's class in algebra at Eisenhower. Miss Swan, Lord Jesus. And I'm a class clown, right? I'm acting up. I'm just, well, why right? Because it's funny to make people laugh. It feels good. However, that
Uh-huh.
grounding did not feel good because
Uh-huh.
my daddy was in the back of the class the whole time. I did not know. And I just happened to turn around a little bit, and I said, and he knew right then. He knew right then. I seen him, and he was like, yeah, I know you seen me. I was like, dang it. I just always, every time I was doing something wrong, my daddy just got me.
But
that's when parents could
being
come
a
up
real
there.
parent. That's what being a real parent is. And I appreciate, speaking of a man taking that role in a young lady's life. Because it's different.
Yeah,
A boy is a boy, but I don't even have kids, but I'm so critical and protective of women and young girls because I want them to be girls. I want them to feel pretty.
Right.
I don't mind them, but it's just something about that heart chord.
And here's the other thing, real quick, before we go on. The other thing is that when I talk about my daddy, he's not my biological father. He got with my mother when I was 6 or 7, and he raised us. So to me, that's my daddy. I one year made the mistake of giving him a stepdad card.
Oh.
And he was offended. He was offended.
That's how
like,
yeah,
oh, absolutely. He was hurt.
Even investment.
Right. So even now, he's actually remarried. He has been for several years. So Mickey, I call her my stepmom because my daddy's gonna be my daddy forever.
Right.
He raised us.
And
so
see,
Mickey's so like, well, y'all my stepkids.
Because I remember when Mickey got married, I'm like, but we talked about family, because I used to be scared of Mickey back in the day because I knew Tiffany growing up at Eisenhower before she went to Sumner, before she went to Grammy.
Right.
And Mickey, I was scared of Mickey. I mean, she had that crooked smile, so I would talk to Mickey's daddy all day. Me, Mr. Gwen would chop it up for hours. But when Mickey said she was married, in my mind, I'm like, to who? I was like, I'm feeling like I'm Eddie and him. I'm like, to who? And who is this dude? So, I mean, I think that speaks volumes. And without you even knowing, they gave me a sense of who this gentleman is. So I feel better about it, and I owe that man a conversation when I go back and more. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, my daddy's a good man. He's a good man, and he's done a lot. He did a lot for us because he didn't have to take us in because it's not just me, it's me, and then I have outside. So the youngest is his child, but in between you have me and 2 other kids. So he took on 4 kids when only one of them is his, and it has never not once made us feel like we're not his kids. I mean, we get upset, yes, like some daddy, like we may get upset or they get disappointed in things we do. But the thing is, like, that family dynamic, that family love is still there always, no matter what.
And that's what I say. A man can say they're a man verbally, but it's his action. Just like when people use the words kings and queens, it's a beautiful thing. It's a compliment, but you have to remember it's the way that you reign over your kingdom to get you the proper respect as a king or queen, or they can be throwing rotten apples at you the next day, period.
Oh, yeah.
Like they can be done at you. You got a title, but it doesn't mean anything. So tell me this. After high school's over, you're still raising your kids. Have you always been into arts as far as poetry and more? Because this is something I want to touch on, because I believe this young lady needs to have her own podcast. Not only just to have a podcast, because she is truly talented. And I embarrassed myself last time willingly when she spoke.
Yes, thank you.
Because I came from Houston. I'm like, you need to get on this mic. I don't know what you're about to say, but I'm about to get up here and just.
I'm like, CJ, where you at? Where you at? Come up here.
Because you're a beautiful person. You're insightful. And I think when people see this, people that don't know you or Sometimes we have a sense of entitlement, and people will prejudge you by the company that you keep. They don't know whether they want to be in that circle. So when did you discover that poetry was one of your things? Was it in school or what?
So honestly, I've been writing since I was in middle school.
Okay.
I've been actually writing. I wasn't doing poetry. Like I even started a book. I just have not finished it. I was telling somebody about the plot of what I already have right now, and they were like, "Oh my God, finish this book." And I'm like, I'll get to it. I'm gonna get to it. I scare myself. Even in writing, okay, so this is really bad. So my boyfriend at the time, Jason, you probably knew him. So he was off at K-State and I was back, here. So I would write him letters, and we had a folder. We had just kept a folder, and we would send, just stuff back and forth. He would come home on weekends, whatever.
Pre-text messages. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, this was pager
effort.
time, baby.
This is effort. If you didn't have a two-way pager, you had to put it on. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. Two-way pager with the telephone, written out somewhere so you knew what they were saying in their numbers. Okay. Yeah, I had that. But so we would write letters. That's what we would do. And what did my dumb self do one day? Another time, Daddy came and picked me up from school. I was in high school, and he was like, "We need to talk." They found all my letters. Inappropriate to say the least. So my mom.
Receipt's been around for a long time, man. I'm telling you, like I had a whole duffel bag that smelled like all kind of different clones, from Red Door to Hot Karate to Lacquerfield Photo. Go ahead.
Listen. Okay, you hear me? I could not believe I dropped that folder out of my book bag. I could not believe it. And they found it. And my mom, they're yelling at me, and I'm getting it, like I'm being fussed at, like, ooh, they was giving it to me. And my mom stops and looks at me, and she says, "You know what's even more disgusting? I would pay to read this stuff." She's like, "But it's disgusting because you're my daughter."
Oh, real skill. Hey, when I tell you, I used to write some. Yeah, I was there with it. Artsy was one thing, but yeah, I was watching Real Sex, trying to sneak watching Real Sex through the covers while my family was watching it. Yeah. Anywho,
listen.
So the poetry's always been in you, and what have you been doing, or what's your journey been with that artistic part?
So I had stopped. I put it on. Well, I'm working so much, that I stopped. I put it on the back end, and then honestly, my good friend Effie, she encouraged me. She was actually one of the first people outside of you that encouraged me, like, no, keep writing. Like, just sit down and write. Okay, well, just do it, like, like different times when she's writing, she's like, okay, write. Like when we'll be sitting here in this chair right here, and she's like, and the other thing is sometimes when she's writing, she lets me like interject. Like she's not like, no, I don't want to hear that. Like, no, she'll let me interject.
Right.
And then so me and Effie are actually gonna do the podcast together. We were supposed to start last Tuesday. If you can't hear her laugh. And then this week has been kind of crazy because she's in the middle of a move, and but we're gonna do it. But she definitely, talking to her, Joe's like, just write, just do it, just get up there. Even when he, back in the day when he had open mic night, I want to say like 10 years ago or something, he let me get up there and do some poetry. And then he had soiree. And so when they were doing Tuesday nights at soiree, me and my daughter, so my daughter actually does poetry as well.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let's break down the boundaries before we fast forward to this jetpacking stuff, till we get to this district stuff. I didn't know that your daughter, so it's in your bloodline to be creative. Can you talk about your daughter even doing poetry and what your sister got going on? Because I was like, I didn't even know. Like,
Caitlin?
mm-hmm. As far
I
as
didn't know.
the photography and things.
Oh, yeah. So I play around, but I had a good camera phone. And so I'm always like, yeah, I got a good, look at my quality iPhone pictures. These are good, pictures. Da, da, da,
These filters. Hold on. What about
right.
this color?
But I figured out how to do it without filters to make it look good.
Okay.
But it's also the quality of the phone you have too, right? Because I didn't have a camera. Now, when I get me a camera, it's gonna be on and popping. But I was doing a project with Joe, and I said, Katie, I need you. Can you help me? I need an assistant to help, like when I can't be in two places at once.
Right.
So she's like, cool. So she's actually helped on a couple of projects and just basic stuff, but she also does a lot of really good behind the scenes photos as well. However, Caitlin is also talented in other ways, because for a long time, I had no idea what she did. I'm just not even gonna lie. I had no idea what she did. I was like,
come on, Tommy.
And I'm like, what? I'm like, what do you do? What? So she works for K-State, but she worked in the urban communities trying to reach out to the kids to get them to come to college, to get them to understand what it is and what it qualifies. And she also helped Angela Wildflower.
Oh, come on, Angie Pope. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so she's
I had her
okay. You giving the government? You giving the governments out here?
She the one that was on Teen Summer with Brunel. Okay, and I'm gonna stop name dropping. Go ahead.
Yeah. So she worked with her a little bit, helping her do some assistance, like the IG, the flyers.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Caitlin is so talented. I mean, and she can whip up a flyer, a project. She's very good with coordination. Yeah, Caitlin, I give all the props to Caitlin.
Super dope. So
yeah, she is.
Check this out. I'll go ahead.
Sorry, just you said my daughter too. Do you want to? So my daughter, I think she's still trying to find it. Like she likes to write, but what I used to tell them all the time is, because I don't want you to be disrespectful. It's you can express yourself to me, but you need to figure out how and when. Right. Like, don't come at me with anger. Come and tell me what's wrong and be able to tell me why you feel this way. So I would tell them, write it down. If you can't express it without being angry, write it down, get it out. Because sometimes we get angry, we get upset, and we don't know why. We're just so upset. We haven't really processed our thoughts. Write it down. So she started writing a long time ago when she was in middle school as well. Hers was not like mine, but but she was writing, and then she started as she started, she loves music, and so she kind of just puts it all together to do her writing.
Okay. And I appreciate you for telling her to write it down, because sometimes I feel like we need to stop and breathe. And most people don't stop and breathe when it comes to things. So let's fast forward, because this new venture that you're on, and I'm not going to say like we hung out XYZ, but I've always seen you around. I've always seen you. Now, before I moved to Houston 10 years ago, one of my biggest things and one of my biggest dreams was I felt Kansas City has talent. Kansas City has what it takes and it has soul, but we needed to break away from everything else and just focus on what our points was. And I've known some great singers, great comedians, and people doing podcasts now. And were you in school when Joe was there in Washington?
Yeah, we were. Remember, so you were king. We graduated in 1999. Remember, we were homecoming attendants together.
Yeah.
And you were like the homecoming king that year or something.
Right.
Or was it you and Shalisha? I think
it was me.
Hampton.
Shalise Hampton. Yeah, Shalise Hampton. Yeah. This one had the lower JW joint on with the little patches. I thought I was everybody had the rayon coming from Skateland and more. Go ahead.
So if you look at the pictures that we took in the yearbook, you can see everybody but me, because you're standing in front of me.
Because I truly remember you, like, and you sent me that picture and you was like, yeah, you blocked me out. And I was like, word? I'm sorry. I was only like 170 pounds. Like my Adam's apple was thicker than me. So I was like, I apologize.
Well, back then I was thin too, back then. But Okay, so two things. One, I do want to go back. I do want to say another person that really inspired me, and we don't really talk as much anymore, but Chuggy. Oh my gosh,
Come
his
on.
writing is exponential. I mean, he's so talented. It's ridiculous. And so when I wrote,
Chuggy called me at 3 a.m. one day and we talked till 5. He still ain't
listen,
made it to Houston yet, but Chuggy,
but his
yeah.
talent is out of this world. And so a lot of times we would talk about, writing, and
Right.
I have seen some of his writings, and I got so excited. That poem I did had the music behind it, that I sent you. I was so excited, and I sent it to him, and he was like, basically like, good job. Like, I can see the growth in your writing.
Mm.
And I just felt like, in that moment I was like, oh my God, this him, he,
Validation.
you
Absolutely.
hear me? Validation from somebody who's great at what they do, because his
Mhm.
poetry is out of this world. So that's that. And then to go back to KCK, I think that what happens is, I think often there is a crabs in the barrel mentality here, but also I think that a lot of people, you can't see big when you've never seen it,
Right.
and you can't go back to small once you have, right? So that's why I think it's important that we do get out of Kansas City, that we do, at least if we're not going to, we educate ourselves or go on virtual trips. I mean, that sounds crazy, but just research, look and see
Yeah.
what it's about.
Absolutely.
Because I think we get in this stuck mentality, like this is what it is. This is what life is.
And I'll take
Right.
it everywhere I go with me. And I think
Everywhere.
everybody from Kansas City, or I'll even say even Missouri, because I got on when the popper was here last week. I went ahead and bought it. But I think you're with us. But I think what needs to happen, as you were saying, I always say you can always branch out. You can always come home, but it's good to branch out outside of your realm so you know what to bring back home.
Right. And believe in
I
yourself.
appreciate
I think
EJ, because EJ does a lot for the community and he brings it home no matter where he is. So you're absolutely
right. Same as Joe. He was in Cali doing his thing, and he came back, to do the same thing in our community. It's so many other people. We could really list a lot of names of people that are really doing it.
Already.
Angie up in New York. And somebody told me one time, they were like, dang, y'all rep the Dotte like, they said something. I said, listen, if you ain't proud of repping your city, that's not the city for you, baby. It's not.
The Dotte gave us real life experience, no matter victories, excellent tragedies. I mean, I've seen so much. Even when I transferred my senior year to Leavenworth, I had been through so much that I was dealing with myself. When they told me that when I left, I said, I'm not going to stay in District 500. I have to leave. I have to leave for mental health and more. So, I mean, it's a reason why we rep, the Dotte so bad, or KC. Tell me this. How did you end up finding this Joe Blaq? And I call him Idris Elba when he wear the hat rolled up. Like Idris Elba
his beanie look,
Because when I knew Joe was always cool. And I actually knew his brother. We used to go to Rockhurst to watch his brother play football with him and
Jonathan.
So when me and, we hop up in the car, we'd be state line watching it. And when Joe came to Washington, I was like, he's a pretty cool dude. Knew his sister was talented. Whole family is talented.
Oh, whole family, absolutely.
How did this come together? Because I think Mr. Lindsay bridged a lot of gaps and gave people freedom, emotional freedom, mental. It was a safe haven when they went in their classroom. How did you all go from high school? And tell us what you all are doing now, including you, because I always got, I'm repping you.
I know. And I always say I'm not really doing nothing. But then everybody gets on me. Yes, you are. So me and Joe have kind of like kept contact throughout the years with different things. I mean, his birthday every year, I would try to send him a message like, yo, happy birthday. We wouldn't even talk all year round, literally. But on his birthday, I made sure like, yo, be great, be you, whatever.
I did the same.
His sister, Andrea, was actually Alicia's teacher. I want to say in high school, my daughter's teacher. And so, that kind of connected us back again briefly, because, he traveled a lot.
Right.
And then the open mics also, you know, got us back together. That's kind of where it all, you know, like actually came back together was the open mics. And then this year, beginning of this year, I was telling him about the KU and about me working, about never having time, about me being just exhausted. It's exhausting. He said, well, I need an assistant. Come work for me. And I laughed.
Now, who are you speaking of before we get into this? Because a lot of people won't know who we're talking about. You're talking about Joe Blaq.
Joe Macklin, aka Joe Blaq.
And I apologize, I'm bringing his name up, et cetera, but I can't tell your story without letting you have the freedom to tell your story. So
yeah, absolutely. He's because he's actually been more of a staple in my life, you know, than I really realized until, you know, most recently.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a Grammy-nominated producer. Worked with Justin Bieber, Jill Scott. Oh, I can't wait to meet her. Ariana Grande. Just recently finished up a project with Ludacris. But you know, and everybody sees him, like when we go places, it's crazy because that's how people say, like, oh my God, it's Joe Black. And I'm like, yeah, it's Joe. It's Joe. Somebody actually got into an argument with me a couple years back. I said Joe Macklin, and they were like, no, his name is Joe Blaq. His last name is Blaq. And I said, no, it's not. And they were like, yes, it is. And I was like, okay, because I'm not gonna argue, because I know.
Don't worry about it.
I was on choir trips with him. We went out of state
the
3
world,
times, you
the
know
young
what I mean?
Thundercats is just now finding out Ray J and Brandy is brothers and sisters.
Brothers and sisters.
I know the argument. Right. I know the argument.
Right, man. Like who do y'all think y'all are? But that's fine. That's fine. You know, it's fine. So you know, that's who Joe is. Joe is an amazing person. He really is. And his brother, I call him Big Brother. His sister, she's always like, hey sis, like she is so talented. His mother, oh my God. Mm-hmm. When I say angel, I love that woman. Right. You know, I love her. One time we went over to her place for to shoot a video, one of his videos. It's going to be coming out soon. Mm-hmm. Music videos. And his mom gave me this little sweater, and I went to give it back. She's like, no, babe, you keep that sweater. It looks good on you. I said, oh, you're so cute. You're so cute. You know, so she's just adorable. And, you know, they've just really made us, when I say us, I mean like me, Effie, Tim. Kim is also, you know, with us, you know, they have made us all feel like family and very welcome. Yeah. You know, and Joe, it's not like, I'm just your boss. It's like, you know, you're my family too.
Yeah, CRU. For real. Because yeah, I noticed that when Joe moved back home, I'm like, oh, he moved home. And I'm like you, I've been away. And like I said, I don't make it seem like I talk to people every day, but if I love you, I love you. Yes. I care for you, I care for you. And I'm always keep my eye out on the streets and hear things because I still get information. And that's why when I found that you were on a team, I was like, oh, so we went from not doing a podcast to you on the whole team. So break down and shout out your team where you are right now, because when I come home, I make sure that I come Wednesday night. So Thursday night, people know where I'm going to be. So what's that now? What's going down, Brown?
So I won't, there's guests in here.
Wait. You can't keep looking up like that. I'm from KC. I'm like, somebody busting in the door? I'm like,
no. Okay. So I'm in the studio right now. I'm in the studio DISTRKCT, which is the label Joe has created. It's his label. But there is a room over here, you know, where they record. And Tim, who is a producer, but also an amazing guitarist. Is that right? Guitarist? He's so humble. When I say he's too humble, because he is amazing. And it's crazy how it all circled back, because Effie, who's also a superstar, I'm blessed to be in her presence always. She's sitting to my left. But let me tell you, she's super humble also. he said you're super dope. You made him a believer. Listen, she doesn't get like how many lives. Like every time we get in the car, and it's funny because also Joe has produced, Joe and Effie and Tim produced a song for my little sister in Texas. A couple, actually a few songs.
What Texas?
San Antonio, Seguin. So I was born in Seguin, Texas. And so I moved to Kansas City when I was 6.
Oh Lord, I'm so scared to see home pretty soon.
I love it. I love it. So my mom homeschooled me, and then when I got up here, the first school I went to was White Church. I went there for 1 year. That's where I met Toya and Tisha Castleberry. Then I transferred over to Hazel Grove. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so that's why I keep looking over there because Tim is over there. But so they worked on some stuff. Oh yeah, I'm safe. I'm completely safe. But every time we get in the car now, my 12-year-old, there it's like a rotation. She puts on one of my sister Alina songs, which I'll shoot you those songs, and then she puts on Effie songs, and it's like a super rotation. And so this past summer, Effie told Stevie is my daughter's name, STVI. She said, Stevie, you can be my intern, except she really just, sucked as an intern. Effie would give her little homework assignments, and she was just like, I don't know, no, but today she even told me, she said, I miss Effie, I want to see Effie. So like I think that people don't realize like the impact they have on others' lives because they may not see it themselves.
Absolutely.
But I'm with a great team. So we have Tim, a go-to producer, guitarist.
Dope.
Effie, from the Boogie Down Bronx, right?
From
the Boogie Down Bronx.
Yes, but go ahead.
So she made it to the Midwest because her family moved here when she was younger. So her family moved here when she was younger. Then she moved back up there because she felt like that's where the heart is.
Yeah.
And then why did you come back here?
She got tired of carrying razor blades in her mouth.
You said what? You said what? You gotta be rich to be poor. She said you gotta be rich to be poor in New York. Facts.
How about that? Uh-huh.
So, but I mean, I'm blessed because then I wouldn't have met her. And she's actually one of my supports, one of my strongest support systems.
I see that you took her too, because at her album release party, you were literally nervous. You were moving and grooving, but I mean, it was just all energy from your point of view in the crowd.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm their assistant, and Effie gets mad. She says, "Don't say assistant. You're more than that. You're like our coordinator. You do everything. You put it all together." Sometimes I don't see that. I honestly, I just don't see it. The certain stuff you just do. And then other things I think about and like helping move. I'm like, no, that's what friends do. I'm not doing this as your assistant. I'm your friend. These are what friends do.
Right.
Type of things. So that's why another reason why I love to do it. I love to work with Joe, because I get to work with Effie and Tim, and then Kim Keys, and her single just dropped. I sent that to you.
I reposted it 17 times.
Oh my God.
Spotify, and I'm about to get Apple Music so I can get on thing.
Listen,
so hilarious. Okay.
I swear to God, I love that her energy is hilarious. I love that song. When they were first recording it in the studio, I was like, okay.
Shout out to Seguin. Seguin's been around since government cheese and Roman noodles. Come on, I used to be. I'm a part. I'm on the circuit.
He is. He's dope. He's also dope as heck. He's somebody else too. He told me one night. He said, "Who you writing for?" I said, "Aren't I supposed to be writing for an audience?" He said, "Why?" He said, "You're supposed to write for you." He said, "You write for you and what feels good to you. And sometimes people will get it and sometimes they won't, but that doesn't matter because your poetry is supposed to be for you."
Absolutely.
And when he told, and that was just a few months back. And when he told me that, I said, and that's when I wrote that. That's when I wrote that one, the last one I sent you. Because I was like, okay.
And I keep telling you, like, the world it's not about the world, it's about you, because you have a message for the world. Because everybody lives in triggers. Everybody lives in happiness. Everybody lives in this thought process. So you got to be the best you can be, because can't nobody else be you.
And I think when you're writing, or even like, I'm not a songwriter or a musician, but poetry for sure. But you don't realize, like, when you're writing and you're going through whatever you're going through, whether it be happy, sad, mad, love, birds, bees, whatever it is. It's always going to be somebody who's going to be able to relate to that. And it could be somebody who's like, dang, like I thought I was the only one who really felt like this. You know, that's why you'll hear them comments like, man, I felt that deep, you know, like I felt that real strong, you know, because, you know, it is relatable. There's a lot of things that are relatable.
And I tell poets all the time, you know, poets have always had the courage and the audacity to say what they feel. And this is before this sensitive era and mental health awareness.
Oh my God.
You've always sacrificed your souls on the mic to say what most wouldn't say. And now we're covered by people who want to take advantage, or now it's okay for people to be sensitive and have feelings when you all were voicing that so long. So that's why I always encourage you to continue to write, no matter what genre of poetry, because we all go through things. You know,
it's definitely a sense of humility.
Absolutely.
When you're writing, it's definitely a sense
I don't
of
share
humility.
mine as much as I'm on you. I will not read in front of people.
I know.
I ain't gonna be before you long and I appreciate the time you're taking out. Tell me where you would like to see yourself in your ventures go from here. Yeah.
So this is actually what I've been kind of I don't know. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't know. This is what I've been thinking about and kind of dealing with over the last few weeks. Just because I'm in a new relationship. My daughter's temporarily back at the house. I just got was blessed with 2 new grandchildren.
Okay.
So when I said that we go through transitions, you know, it's true. We go through transitions. And so I'm like, you know, where do I want to see myself? I have rented for a very long time. So we are talking about owning a home. So, you know, I'm thinking like.
Let me hold that back. I'm about to talk to you like I'm big person. Who's this boy? I mean, we'll talk off camera about that one day, or maybe but I'm looking like a note. You going from renting to a note? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes. You know, and that's why I told him, you know, I honestly told him last week, I said, I'm just going to be really honest with you. I said, this is the first time in my life that I have felt stable enough in my life and with my significant other that I'm ready to get a home, you know, and ready to move forward.
Okay.
I mean, I'm being honest, and, you know, I'll be 40 tomorrow. Hey, but, you know, I mean, it takes time, you know, you know, I think that people put, like ages on, well, I got to do this by this time. I got to do this by that time. I think you and I had this conversation, like the last time you were here, and it's not even a matter of like, I have to do it by this time, because who sets those age limits?
Right.
You know, it's almost like we cap ourselves. So if by 30 we didn't do this and this and that, you know,
you automatically put yourself in the mental
state. Right. And what I had to tell myself is, let me tell you something. I was 15 when I had my first child. You know, I've been through X, Y, Z. I've done this, but you know what? I've had a great support system, and I will say shout out to Ernie Sewell, Kendra Sewell, and Mikey Ramos, Mike Ramos. Those 3 individuals, and even to now this day, they are my mold. I mean, they supported me, changed diapers, you know, baby Jay when he was baby, like just everything. They've been through everything with me from, you know, Ernie and Mikey in high school all the way up to now. You know, my son is working with Mikey. I mean, I've had such a great support system, but what I do know, what I was saying, go back to what I was saying. What I do know is, you know, maybe I should have had a home at 35, but I've been through so much that I feel like I've done a pretty damn good job. I have healthy kids, oh yeah, always improving. And I think the other thing is, because I was a young mother, learning from your kids is also something else that is good for healing and growth. You know, there's sometimes, even now, my daughter will say, well, mama, look at it like this, because XYZ. And I'm like, oh, dang, you're right. I didn't even think of it like that. You know, and my son, he's a numbers person, and he's just so smart. I mean, and just, so all the information I'm soaking up from the new ventures that I have with Joe and Effie and the team, and then my kids, and then my friends. I mean, I'm blessed. I'm so blessed,
Sound
and
like
I'm
your
just
village is wonderful. You have a
I
true
have a
village around
oh
you.
yeah,
And I
true
think
village.
in people that are listening, you have to understand, growing up with people in family is one thing, but sometimes you have to find the right village for where you are in life and where you're going
Hmm.
in life. And it
Hmm.
doesn't slight anybody else, but when you find your village and your tribe, it is so it's such a relief that you can actually be
Yeah,
yourself and be who you are.
it's like a peace of mind that you can actually trust is a big thing, you know what I mean?
Mhm,
So I know if I fall, I can trust fall on any of them, literally,
mhm.
and they have me, and same, like I got them just the same. Trust fall to me all day long. I got you, you know. Um, and so I'm just hoping within the next 5 years that we can come back to this podcast, which is probably gonna have 10,000 billion million, we can't even
Ah,
remember viewers, but
what?
it'll be, it'll be out there, to we can come back and revisit and say, yo, 5 years ago, remember where I said I don't even know where I'm gonna be, but it's gonna be somewhere great,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely. So it's saying that if I can ask, and I always ask this question sometime. In your mind, what do you feel that your 3% is life in life has been since you've been alive, no matter if it's the change, the evolution, and more? What do you feel your 3% is that you offer the world and offered yourself?
Wait, did I offer my world and what?
What do you feel your 3% has been in life that has affected you to the point of making you want to grind, of making you want to overcome, or anything like that? What's your inspiration?
Um, ooh, goodness gracious, I have so many, but I want to say,
It can be more than one. It's just that's your life.
um,
Your 3% is your truth.
my kids for sure. Once I started having kids, I was definitely an inspiration to be better. My parents, I think for a long time, and I still do sometimes hide myself from people. I like to be shy. Um, but being able to have the people around me that I have, you know, and know that there's more out there,
Right, right.
there's more out there. The fact that I want my kids to be able to, I want them to do better, see better, and be better.
Hmm.
Right. So the only way they can do that is if there's more that I can show them and encourage them to see more and do more. Does that
Absolutely.
make sense?
Yeah, you're saying basically you need to be present in life. And in your journey,
Yeah.
as long as you live your life and you push as hard as you can, they're not starting
Yeah.
right there. They're going to pick up from where you left off and be exposed to the good, bad, and the ugly, but more or less have the bravery to go ahead and move forward in life. The-
Facts. I will say, sorry to cut you off real quick. I will say one thing is we didn't learn a lot about finances in high school, in
You
middle
say
school or high
Mr.
school.
Piper? I wish I would
No.
listen to Mr. Piper.
I wish I would have took the class. I didn't have the class. So, and then also our parents didn't really know or
Hey,
teach us then. Like their money
hey,
that was their business, not ours, none of our business.
correct, correct.
But I think that's such a big thing to teach these kids, how to save. Because I will say, I feel like a lot of our generation doesn't really know how to save,
Hmm.
and doesn't know. I mean, and now they're getting back into stocks and bonds and crypto and all this stuff. But I think APRs and percentages and like I think all that's important for them to learn before they get out in the world.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll tell you
Yeah,
what, Miss Crystal. So I appreciate you being on the show. Like
I
for
appreciate
real.
you.
I appreciate you having the guts to come because it was just last week. I'm like, I need you to go ahead and come on the show. I didn't ask. I'm like, you need to just go ahead and come on the show. And I expected for you, I expected for you to say no.
Oh, I felt like I wasn't given an option. I was like, my big brother told me I had to do this. So
Hey, I'm
boom,
just
here it
I'm
is.
a nobody. I just encourage you. And the reason why I love and care about the person that you are coming from Wyandotte County is because you have a heart, you have ambition,
Thanks.
and you are humble. You're doing great things. And like I said, this interview is not to name drop, but it's just to show what actually can happen when you put your mind to it and your character. And if your character is right, people want to invite you on the voyage, no matter what it is in life. So it's
Yeah,
purpose
thanks.
building life. And You just validated Mr. Lindsay. A lot of people talk about Mr. Lindsay, and I never sang, and I always used to look at his clothes and more, but teachers really can inspire. So shout out to the teachers
Oh
that
yeah.
parents flowers in them and people that's going to school board meetings and fighting for XYZ. Uh,
Oh, wait, real quick. I'm glad you said that. I'm so sorry. I'm only take a couple more minutes
no,
of
you
your
can, no, no,
time.
no, no, no. I got time. I'm just trying to make sure.
So
I don't want them looking
I
at me
don't.
like, can we get it in here?
Yes. So okay. So Joe has this curriculum that he wants to start auto engineering program in KCK.
Go.
We have went to the school board. We went to the meetings,
Mhm.
the school board meetings.
That was what, 2 weeks
Um,
ago? Two?
and 2 or 3 weeks
Yeah.
ago, they had so right now it's being tabled, which means they're just holding off on it.
Mhm.
Um, but if we can support this, because let me tell you something, when I say that this is giving these kids, these high school kids, an opportunity, I even I even wrote a letter because I felt, I mean, even if it wasn't Joe, even if it was somebody I didn't know and I heard about this program, there is not one time where they told me I could come out of school with a degree and already have a job at Cerner, have a job with the stadium doing auto engineering. Like, I mean, he teaches coding in this class. I mean, it's so much. They can come out already ready and prepared. And I think that old school was, you have to go to school, you have to go to college, you got to do this, and that's the only way to be successful. Well,
Right.
we've proven, including yourself. And I hope you also give yourself flowers because you are amazing. You do a lot. But we have proven that you don't have to do a go to college 9 to 5 to be
Right.
successful.
Right.
Absolutely
Seeing,
not.
seeing you, and then some people's passionate and driven to go through school. It needs to be
Right.
made and available because some of the best engineers that I know used to work in the church in the back. That's how they
Right.
learned how to do things, and it was limited supply of those to do. So you are absolutely right. And wow, that's incredible. Go ahead and pub that if you want, because if it's a passion of yours and it's a passion of mine, you know.
So yeah, I would just say, just to tune in to the Kansas City, Kansas Public School board meetings if you can. Just support as much as you can. I think the other thing that I was just talking to somebody about last night is I think it's important for us to learn who we elect to be like on the boards. I think that we didn't educate ourselves enough, or we didn't know what was going on, and so we don't vote, and we think these little votes don't count, but they do, because when we vote for these people to be on the board, we don't know who they are. We just blindly vote, or we don't vote. Then we get people that are sitting on the board that we may not actually want, or may not have our best interest or our kids' best interest at heart.
Absolutely.
So I think that's another thing
Facts.
that we really need to hone in on, and is educating ourselves as far
That's
as that's
all
concerned.
facts, and it's real. It takes small politics to still build politics, big politics, and I'm even learning that at my age over the last 3 years from a brilliant young lady. This segment, shout outs. Go ahead and pub shout out who you want to. You have the floor.
I mean, I feel like I shouted out. I mean, I feel like I gave so many shout outs this whole session. I just, because I'm just surrounded by so many people and so much greatness. I will say Lauren Clay, she is the one that's helping Joe with this at the school board. So we're just hoping and praying, even if it's just prayers out there, if the supportive letters, whatever it is, just take a look at the program, the auto engineering program,
Mhm.
to be part of the Kansas City, Kansas, school district.
And
I
period,
think it's
if you hear this and your child has an interest in music or something like that, not necessarily writing, but they're creative, no matter if they're in band or good with computers or just like-minded and interested in things like this, these are the things that people like Joe and what they're fighting for is to have an interest to build. And it builds a craft,
right.
and it's for some people, because like I said, I always want to be a DJ, like with Shad and Q and M, but these are the things put in place so you don't feel like you have to be a straight A student, you have to play sports. If it's a passion, this is a passion project and it's much needed. Go ahead.
I'm glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that, because I feel like a lot of the kids, at least when I was growing up in KCK, they felt like if they didn't have if they weren't making straight A's, or if they were not an athlete, they felt like they weren't going to make it.
Mhm.
And I think it is important for these kids to understand that there's other revenues, there's other directions that they can go,
Right.
like you were saying. I think that's a big thing. also, we do the open mic at Parlors on Thursdays, but
Good
Joe
job.
has started a jam session on Tuesday nights, rooftop at the Combine.
Okay, okay.
So last night was the first one, and it was nice. The weather wasn't too cold. They have little heaters up. DJ Q, he's the DJ out
Oh,
there.
I
Joe's
forgot Q. I'm
hosting.
up here talking about Q, and I forgot Q was on. I did see him on the.
Yeah, he's on
I
there.
have him on the show already.
Oh yeah, he's awesome too. He's a good-hearted person as well.
Absolutely.
And then I think we're gonna try to do that again moving forward. So artists, people that want to, do poetry, they want to sing, come out, be a part. Even if you don't want to do that, you just want to vibe, come out Tuesday nights to the Combine, Thursday nights to Parlor.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, Miss Crystal, I've used a lot of your time, and I truly appreciate you, number one, having the courage. Number two, showing the world who you are for people who might not know. And like I said, I wanted to give you your flowers now because I think that you're an incredible person. What I'd
Thank you.
like to offer the world, and just being so humble, that'll get you a long way. So I just wanted to shout you out and bring you on the 3% show to show your truth, show your courage, and just you've touched on so much. So whoever gets a chance to see this, hopefully they really will look into it and go from there and continue success. Working with Joe, working with Effie. I mean, at first I was like, then I was like, oh. And then I got
Yeah.
the CD and was like, oh, I think my favorite song is Someday.
Someday. He said he
fucks
thinks
with
his
that.
favorite song is
I
Someday.
fucks with that heavy. I love Someday.
It is.
Like,
Me and Stevie, my daughter, we were listening to that on the way home today. Someday.
yeah, I mess with that because I got musical Tourette's.
Yes,
I got it.
musical Tourette's.
I got
Okay, what you need to tell people is that these playlists that you make. I remember when you screenshotted me because I didn't have Spotify, and you literally screenshotted me every single one of your playlists and all the music on it. So listen, you always give everybody the shout outs. Make sure that you are shouting at yourself too. You are great. You are so great. You're a great person. You're compassionate. You're loving and caring. I mean, dude, I looked back. That was probably like last year, and I was like, oh my god, this is like 30 screenshots of nothing but music.
That's my thing.
So,
If I could sing, I would sing. If I could sing, I'd be a whore. I'm not gonna lie. I ain't gonna.
listen,
I probably have 5 kids. I ain't gonna lie. But I mean, music is my thing, from writing to listening to everything. So
I can't sing that well. I tell people, I say, listen, I'm gonna give you a disclaimer. I act like I can sing, but I can't. So you just have to deal with
absolutely. Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I truly appreciate your time. I appreciate your crew, and more than anything, I appreciate what you're bringing from the Dotte to Missouri and all. But to know that it's homegrown in the 913 in the Wyco area, that just means so much to me. And
Absolutely.
I don't have no fancy outro, so hold on for 1 second.